Greetings, Andy here again, quite quickly after the last one. So a few days ago I posted my top 5 underrated great guitarists. Got lots of feedback on that, as I expected. Not everyone agreed with it. In fact, quite a few people disagreed with particularly 2 of my ones, saying they're not very underrated, which is probably fair enough. Maybe I set the bar a bit too high. And I also had lots of suggestions. And, what really came through to me was actually if I'd thought about it a bit longer, because I did do it fairly quickly, I probably could have easily come up with a different list, though 2 or 3 of my selection wouldn't have changed anyway. But amongst all the suggestions, some of them I didn't know very well, or they're not bands I'm really into, or I don't have any records of them. But there were a few which really gelled, and I thought, right, I'm going to do a quick follow-up. So part 2, and this is just 5 picks from viewers and subscribers from the feedback. And I'm going to start with one which is particularly timely following the sad news of his death, and that is Dickie Betts of the Allman Brothers Band, who passed away this last week. And I have a couple Allman Brothers. So this is their album Brothers and Sisters. So Dickie initially was lead guitar along with Duane Allman, and Duane Allman died in a bike crash in 1971. And in effect, Dickie became the proper lead guitarist at that point, and from there on afterwards. And this album came out in 1973, and it's fabulous. It showcases a lot of his skill. And for us Brits, we'll remember that the track on here, Jessica, is the theme music to the original BBC Top Gear. So, but people of my generation in the UK will remember that and relate to it. Also at Fillmore East. So this was just not long before Duane died. And obviously Dickie's on here as well. Great guitar. I often think great guitarists need to be heard on live. And this is one of the all-time great live records. So R.I.P. Dickie. And another one which really gelled as well, which was suggested by a few people, was Martin Barr of Jethro Tull. Now, I've got a load of Tull albums. I usually always pull out Aqualung and Thick as a Brick and so on. So just thought I'd wave around a couple of, I haven't shown before, Mistral in the Galleries, and slightly later, Heavy Horses. Barr played, he doesn't play with them anymore, I don't think. I think there's some sort of falling out. But so many of their great albums from the late 60s, early 70s right through feature Martin on guitar. Now, number 3 is an interesting one, and that's Lowell George of Little Feat. Somebody suggested that, and I thought, oh, good call. Brits of my generation learnt a lot of stuff from the 70s TV series, The Old Grey Whistle Test. And I can remember in, I think it was 1975, mid-70s anyway, Little Feat appearing on that. And I'd not heard of them before. Well, I think at the time I'd heard of them, but knew absolutely nothing about them. I found it fascinating. It wasn't necessarily a type of music that I was listening to then, age, 18, I think. But I really liked it. And since then, I've bought a few albums, and great slide guitar on there, steel guitar, bottleneck. This was my first probably experience of that sort of slightly countryish sound, which I love now, but at the time wasn't really into. And it was something I had to hear a few times, but I can just remember so vividly that show. And like all great guitarists, you need to hear them live if you can. And this is the live album, Waiting for Columbus. Another call on there, which I thought, wow, why didn't I think of that? Is Andy Powell of Wishbone Ash. Been with them right through all of their great records. This is their first one. This is a much later, fairly recent reissue on Brown. Really good quality reissue, this one. But I mean, Pilgrimage, I mentioned previously the second album as being the first LP that I can remember buying in 1970, I think it was, or was it 71? 71. This came out before. And for some reason, I never actually went, despite buying all the following ones for a few years, I never went back at the time and bought this. But so I put that right recently. And again, on the live, I recently showed Live Dates, which I think is their best one. But I've also got Live Dates 2, which is after Ted Turner left, who was and Andy Powell's sort of oppo in the dual lead guitar stakes. So now who we got? So Andy Powell, and it's Laurie Wisefield had joined them by then instead of to replace Ted Turner. But Andy by now is the proper lead. So there you go. And last, but very much not least, another one which I thought, oh, what a call, is Jan Ackerman of then Focus. That's when I knew them. This is a second album, Moving Waves, an original, Focus 3, great one. So this is the one with Sylvia on it. And again, a live album, Focus at the Rainbow. Obviously, I'm not sure when he left, but he left a bit after this, and he's still doing solo work. I don't have any of his solo output, but absolutely love it. Just superb, again, what I would call a superb technical guitarist. I have no idea what that means, but he could play. He's a combination of really good, what I might call prog guitar, which isn't necessarily always quite make it cry and sing, but he could make it cry and sing as well. So there you go. That was my. If you didn't like my first go, then I've had another little go. But these are great suggestions from feedback I had on the first one, which I just thought, yeah. So I've just decided to do this part 2. I'm not going to do another. So there are any number of these, but if you didn't like my first one, here's an alternate mix. So thanks for watching. Cheers.